Welcome to the Toke and Trans. What do I say? Welcome to the Toke and Trans podcast, where we talk life, love, and getting high. Grab a J and join us. We do not condone the consumption of illicit activities with anyone under the age of 21. Welcome to the Toke and Trans podcast, everybody. It's your boys, Aaron and Bo. And just like usual, we're toasty, schmoasty, and a little bit roasty.
Oh yeah, pre-gamed, got on the same page. Kind of thought today could be a little fun, a little talk about something that we don't usually do. I'm not necessarily a politics person, but this last week on Trans Day of Visibility just so happened to land on Easter, and
Have you seen
it caused a bit of an uproar. What'd you say?
Have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah, I'd say it flooded the feed on Easter. And it was just I just blew my mind, really. So let's just take them to the start of it. Should we? Should we take them to the start?
Let's rewind the clock.
Right. Where did this begin? Okay, so we have Easter this year landing on Trans Day of Visibility. Trans Day of Visibility. Why don't you tell them about that, Bo? Tell them about Trans Day of Visibility.
It's Sunday the 31st.
This year.
Well, it was a Sunday
every
this
year.
year, but it's March 31st every year.
Since
its conception, which was in 2009, which was 14 years ago.
14 years ago. A long-ass time.
So it's been on March 31st every year for 14 years. But Easter fell on that Sunday this year. So it was like a whole big thing.
Yeah, so basically Biden is the president of the United States right now, and he released a kind of like a little statement, a proclamation on Trans Day of Visibility. It says, on their White House .gov, they let out like a big statement, basically talking about them supporting trans people, and that in their statement they include how to get help if you're having issues with mental health and all these things. And then at the end he says, "Now therefore I, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2024 as Transgender Day of Visibility." Woo! So what happened is when he said, I'm backing and proclaiming Trans Day of Visibility on March 31st, they posted this on social media as well on Easter Day, which is the same exact day, but the conservative side and a lot of people started running with it as Biden was trying to don't look at Easter, look at Trans Day of Visibility. And they were basically saying he was trying to erase Easter by posting this on social media. And it started just a huge circus.
Yeah, I think the funniest part is that, as we mentioned earlier, Easter just so happened to fall on Trans Day of Visibility this year, because Easter changes every year. Easter's calculated, the day that it falls on is calculated whether it has to be the first Sunday after the full moon that occurs on or after the spring equinox. Which
it's specific and
I just
changing.
Want to point out, right, exactly. And I just also want to point out that this is also one of the things that's super funny to me, because Easter was the holiday, the concept of it was taken from the pagans. It was Austera, which is a celebration of fertility. Bunnies and eggs are associated with fertility in the festival of Austera. And Easter, Austera, bunnies and eggs. It's just kind of weird. And also that it's a Sunday after the full moon on or
I,
after the
what I,
spring equinox. Like, how fucking witchy can you get? Okay, so there's that. There's that whole thing, and then they're like, oh, it's Christian, blah blah blah, whatever. And they all they knew about was Easter. They didn't bother to know that it's been like this for 14 years. It's been on
yeah,
this day, Transgender Day of Visibility. It's not in their
yeah.
periphery. It's not in their vision because they live in their little bubble that they don't get exposed to things like this. This is the same reason why like dudes are like, oh well, there's no men's history month. Yes, there is.
They're like, bro.
November, bro. Like what the
uh,
Yeah, there is. You don't bother to put it in your scope. That's why it's not something you cared about before. So why are you caring now?
I saw so many social media graphics on my feed that were just full of like Biden erases Easter, left blah blah blah, like all this like negative, like literally every single thing that came on there was just like negative about Biden, drawing a line in the sand and all this stuff, and it's just like,
Mhm.
why in the world do we have like? And they would see this infographic and they're like, oh my god, like I saw this on social media, but I'm gonna do my research. Like now, I think these old people have realized, I got to do my research. At least in the conversations that I've been having, old people needed like doing their research, and then they come back around and they're like, okay, so this is the infographic I'm clicking. I'm gonna go to their bio, click their blog post. They read the blog post from whatever news outlet or whatever source that this person is coming from, and they say, okay, there's a blog post about it. Here, these are facts. Like I've
Mhm.
fact checked it, but they're like fact checking the same website. They're not like fact
Right.
checking like other contexts and like the answers to that. And I feel like it kind of got squashed really fast. Like I feel like it immediately, like all of Easter, I feel like it was in my feed. All when I did look at my phone, I was like in my feed. But then I felt like the next couple days afterwards, it kind of died down. Like they realized like we have no argument. Like there's like we kind of screwed this one up. Who shared this first? That made us all start screaming it and made us look bad. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. It was just for me. It was frustrating because I do consider myself to be Christian. I do believe like in God, and like I do have a relationship with God. So it was so frustrating to see all these people posting and sharing these things. They're like, see, like, oh, I guess Biden's on that side or this side, and it's like, why the fuck can't I be and like why can't I be trans and Christian? Why can't I be trans and an athlete? Like, why can't I be
Yeah.
trans? Like, all these things, and it's like, why do I have to choose one side or the other? I can be like, I can have a relationship with God
Yeah.
and be trans or be queer, or I can choose not to have a relationship and be like, it's just, I don't know. It just was really frustrating to me to
Yeah.
see all these people trying to like say like, boom, like division, like that's the line, that's the line. And like, it's like,
Yeah.
no, that there is no line. You step the fuck over that. Like we've been stepping over those lines for years now. Like we just existed on both sides of the line for a long time.
Right.
A lot of
Yeah.
us anyways. So it's just, I don't know. It was just frustrating.
You bring up a great point, I think. Why can't I be and I love that. Uh
Thanks, man.
TM trademark that or something. Like that's brilliant. Um but I think you bring up a great point because often I feel like us as trans people want to oppose us and they'll say like, well, why do you make it your whole identity? Why is everything got to be trans? Like why can't you just be like whatever and like whatever? Because you don't let us.
Right.
Because we can't just be and.
Yeah.
Because you don't see us beyond our transness. Once you find out that we're trans, everything we do is something about being trans. Because you
Through
can't
trans
see us as
lens.
right. Yes, exactly. Once you know that we're trans, that's all you see us through is that trans lens. And we can't be anything other than that. We can't just be a Christian or an athlete or just a fucking person at the grocery store. We're like, oh my gosh,
Getting a
stare at that
haircut.
person
Like,
because I'm gonna try to figure out how they have sex. Like it's just
it's
the
insane.
obsession is weird and it fuels how they see us, the lens that they see us through. And so yeah, when the whole Easter thing came out, of course they made it all about us. But you said before that you think that it was like a social media oversight.
Yeah. Like, as a social media manager for like multiple businesses, I just like when I see social media and when I see like people, especially like bigger accounts, like people that don't do their own social media, like in especially like in this situation, like there's like Joe Biden does not write his social media posts. Like
Right.
he just does. He just there's
No.
just not how he works. That's
Right.
not how like the process works. He might have a say. He might vocalize what he wants to say in these things, but like as far as what's posted when and when it's scheduled for, like Biden's not
Yeah.
out here scheduling these posts. So I
No.
just thought it was. I mean, as if I was someone on their social media management team and
Mhm.
saw that this I don't know, I just feel like I would have seen this as like, ooh, that, I mean, that might not have been the best way to word this right now, or to post this in a different way. Like there's different strategies, and like people use marketing for good and evil and all these things, but at the end of the day they should have just they should have like realized this to be kind of like an issue that they might have seen coming, and be able to kind of avoid that by delivering the message differently.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm proud of the message that he said. I'm happy to see that coming from the White House, especially because of, you know, things in the past that have just been really triggering. And you know, it was dope to see. And I just think people were just fishing for something to fight about and fishing for that division, and tried to find something and run with it, and then realized that
Yeah.
that shit is not an actual argument. So it
Right.
just didn't work out,
Yeah. And
and you can
like,
tell.
I think we all know that sometimes holidays fall on the same day.
Yeah,
Sometimes things happen. I mean, like, do people, Hanukkah's right around Christmas. Uh, there's like an Indian festival that's right around Christmas. Like, so, that's why we usually say happy holidays to just be more
right.
inclusive, because not everybody
There's
celebrates
all
Christmas.
kinds of
I think
shit
we all
going on
know
in
that.
December.
Right. There's all
Yeah.
kinds of shit going on in December. I
Yeah.
think we can, as a group, as a collective, just understand that, just like Thanksgiving isn't on the same day every, it changes too. I don't know what the thing about Thanksgiving is. I think it's like the
I think it's
last
like the
Thursday
last
in the month.
Thursday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess
Okay,
that's
right.
right. If we
Okay, yeah.
both said it, that shit,
Right.
it's
Some are
close.
consistent with every date, like your birthday, and some change because they have to be on the same day, like Thanksgiving, they have to be on a Thursday. In Easter's case, it's some
Easter was
witchy ass shit about the full moon and the equinox, and
I mean, I'll be honest. When I looked that up, I was like, because I instantly was like, wait a second, this is not right. Like, as a social media person, I have to keep track of Trans Day of Visibility each year. I was like, this is fishy. And so when I
yeah,
went to look it up and found it, I was like, okay, this is not it. This is wrong.
right. Yeah, it seemed wild.
Definitely not. And I mean, you can get so sucked into all that, like the negativity and like that division, and then share. Like you can imagine all the people who shared that post with an angry sentence in as their like reshare, like caption or whatever on Facebook, or on their story posting that shit. Like, and like they, it's just so frustrating to have it be like something that's not even backed by anything, and it's like you're just really just using it as like an
Right.
outlet to like let out your negativity, your self-hatred, your awful life that you're living, or however, whatever awful circumstance you're in. Like they just
Mhm.
use it as an excuse to just kind of like, you know, just make fun. And like even on the post that like Joe like that they posted from the White House accounts on social, like there's so many people. Like I was blown away by how many people in the comments are so negative. And like now the post I was referencing that I looked up to for this episode was on X, or formerly known as Twitter. So I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know, but in those comment sections that I was seeing, it was just so negative, and people making like just like transphobic memes, and like tagging people who are cis, and then like making fun of them like because they look trans, and like seeing like 5,000 hearts like on these
Yeah.
comments, like
Yeah.
that can get really overwhelming. And especially when you're like your feed, you know, it can get flooded with one side of all of these posts, or the other side it's just an algorithm. And a lot of times, you know, sometimes it can be giving you just the negative, and that gets really really overwhelming.
Yeah. I totally agree. I can't go through any post and look at the comments without seeing like the most cutting, deeply cutting, disturbing
Yeah. Like they're giving it
hate.
all they got.
Everything they have, they really
Yeah.
want to hurt people with their words. And that's not something I understand um or find acceptable at all. I think it's counterintuitive for human existence. As we evolve, the thing that seems to be most prevalent now is mental health. We no longer have to, fight for survival out in the wild. We have technology and we have comfort now. Mental health is high on the list, and we're just attacking each other for everything and anything with all we have. And it is disgusting, disturbing, and I can't take it.
It's pointless.
I get so overwhelmed on social media anymore, Aaron. I have to literally yell at myself to put my phone down because I
Like force
can't. And I
yourself to take
think,
a break.
yeah, I get compelled to fight for myself and fight for others in the comment section when I see something like transphobic or something. And I'm like, okay, I can come with them with facts. No, you can't. Facts don't matter here.
Right.
All they care about is their view, and literally nothing else matters. And this isn't just for about transphobic things, like with the current atrocities going on in Palestine. The fast food restaurant that starts with an M, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to. um there's a boycott, and so they're really pushing. They have lost. I think I read something that said they lost $2 billion in sales since the boycott started. That may be wrong. I'm high, so fact check me. But you go to the comments and there's a Palestinian flag, watermelon emoji, please boycott, whatever, because there's something in it's a McDonald's ad or something, or someone eating McDonald's or something like that. Oh, I said it when I said I wasn't going to say it. I said it.
Well, you know what we were
Anyway,
meant. You know what we
we're
meant.
silly goofy. So anyway, like there'll be like 200 replies to the Palestinian flag emoji or the watermelon emoji or something, and it's like horrible stuff. I'm not going to repeat anything that I may have said, may have seen, but like
It's just
just over
awful.
something like that. And when it's something so clear as the situation that's happening in Palestine, like so clear as to where the wrong lies, so indescribably clear. This is for the first time ever in history. The genocided people are documenting live their own genocide for the entire world to see, that we can see for free, that I see 8 hours a day. When I'm scrolling, when I'm fucking locked in and scrolling, I see this shit 8 hours a day. It is so unbelievably clear, and still these people persist with the horrible, horrible comments. And I found um, this experiment. In a simple experiment, researchers at the University of Chicago sought to find out whether a rat would release a fellow rat from an unpleasantly restrictive cage if it could. The answer was yes. The free rat, occasionally hearing distress calls from its compatriot, learned to open the cage and did so with greater efficiency over time. It would release the other animal even if there wasn't the payoff of a reunion with it. Even if they just he released it, took him away, so they didn't get to
Yeah.
meat. Astonishingly, if given an access to a small hoard of chocolate chips, the free rat would usually save at least one for the captive, which is a lot to expect of a rat. The researchers came to the
Yeah.
unavoidable conclusion that what they were seeing was empathy, and apparently selfless behavior driven by that mental state. And I think that research is important because what I'm seeing is a horrific lack of empathy, and these people have lack something that even rats have. Rats live for 2 years.
Yeah.
They live for a lot less time than we do, and um, even they have empathy. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Their brains are the size of a walnut, and
And they've got empathy.
even they understand empathy. And I am concerned in how the mental health of our country is going to, or world rather, is going to keep going at this rate. Um, I had to change my social media behaviors recently because of all this. Uh, I'm I get so overwhelmed by all of this stuff. I have I mean, I consider myself an empathetic person, and I think the people around me do as well. And as an autistic person, I think one of the traits for autistic people is to have a strong sense of justice and morality, a strong personal sense of justice and morality. That's not to say my justice is the same as your justice, but what I perceive my justice to be, I am very headstrong in it, and you've witnessed that. um,
Yeah.
so when I see a wrong being committed, I have a strong sense to do something about it if it is safe for me to do so in the comment section or something relatively safe. I get myself locked into these fucking people who don't, they're not going to change. They're never going to change. Nothing you say will ever change anybody. You're just a guy. You're just a guy like they're just a guy. Are they going to say anything that's going to change your point of view? No. Consider it the other way around as well. Don't waste your time. Keep it scrolling. That's the number one thing I would suggest.
Right.
But the number two thing I would suggest is follow follow more hopeful content if you can.
Interact with
Um,
it. Yeah.
interact with hopeful content. That's not to say that you should blind yourself from the troubles of the world and the things that are happening. Stay informed, stay active, you know, do what you can when you can, but this burnout is serious and your mental health is important, and you're not going to do any good for anybody if you're curled up in your bed crying because you're so overwhelmed by the hate and vitriol in the world that you can't even get out of bed. So, you need to take care of yourself. And I followed this uh, content creator who reports on um, good things happening in the world that we're not
Yeah.
hearing about because everything we're hearing is bad.
Yeah.
And it just really helps me stay balanced
Hmm.
because, like, while yeah, I'm seeing this horrible stuff happening and these horrible things being said by people, and the world doesn't feel so heavy when I'm also learning about indigenous tribes getting their land back and starting to rebuild, and um, you know, the climate crisis being finally addressed, and things are starting to change, and like plants are starting to grow, and um it like Switzerland just got sued for making bad climate decisions by their own people, and they won, and like that was really great. And um so it's good to stay balanced. If you're going to be submerged in all the dark and all the negative, then you have to seek out the positive and the light. It's not going to come to you
Yeah.
as easily, it seems.
Hmm.
So you have to seek it out. You have to seek out the balance. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And
And
I,
share those posts, like share them even if you don't like aren't somebody who like comments on posts very often. You can either like them, or you can send them to someone else, or you can even just save them for yourself for the future. And social will see that, like that they'll see if you stop and watch 3 extra seconds or stare extra 3 seconds at this photo compared to a different photo. Like they'll, and just any kind of interaction will help bring at least a little bit more positivity to your feed. And if you find one that you like, send it to another person, like a good one that, makes someone smile, or, you know, can uplift their spirits in some way, because like it does, it gets overwhelming, and you have to seek out those groups, like the Facebook groups. You have to seek out the podcasts, seek out the people that you want your feed to be full of, and make sure to fill it as much as you can with that, and trying to remember the balance of both sides. Like there are some good things happening too, and some things that we can hold on to for sure.
Yeah. I wanted to drop that guy's Instagram. His name is Jacob Simon, and his Instagram is Jacob Simon Says, all one word.
Yes,
His whole
good. I
thing
love that.
is replacing dread with hope.
Nice.
And I
See,
like that. I really like it.
yeah,
It's a lot of good climate news that he reports on, and just, gives you hope. It does. It gives me hope, because I was losing it for a minute there, bro.
yeah. No,
I'm like, dude,
I
I can't
totally
do
get
this
that.
anymore, my guy.
And
Like,
I no, they people go for, they can get really negative, and they can go for the throats, and
they go
it's
for the
important
fucking
to make
throat.
sure that you fill your feed with other things as well. Or and
Yeah.
if you need to take a break from that feed, then switch platforms for a little while, and make one platform full of all this. You know what I mean? Like you just got to change it up in some way, shape, or form, and try to find it, because
Yeah.
you're right. Or even maybe no platforms. Maybe just taking a break. Maybe taking a week or
Hmm.
two off, or even 2 days without social. I mean, a lot of people
Right.
don't go that long even. So definitely
Yeah.
could be a good
Right.
choice.
I I I want to also say that don't engage with people who are engaging with you negatively. I feel like there's this misconception that everybody has to be good at social media or something, just because it's like everything that everybody has. But just like, I mean, there are people whose job it is to be a content creator. That's not my job. I'm not a content creator. Um, the people whose job it is to do something, I feel like they have a skill set in order to handle that job. Content creators have a skill set that allows them to handle negative comments in a way that, um like, professionally. I'm sure it affects them emotionally as well, but you don't see like content creators engaging really that much with their, like, the
Yeah,
negative comments. Cuz
yeah,
like they say, attention feeds the trolls. So um I it's okay to not be okay when you start to see that stuff, and to need a break, if you're not, like, even if you are a content creator. But I mean, the
yeah.
chances are that you're not. You're
Right,
not a professional content creator. You're not like, this isn't your job. This isn't paying your bills. You don't need to give it any time and energy. You
right.
deserve to give yourself time and energy in the things that give you joy. And if it's not something that gives you joy, you can take a break from, and that's okay. You're a
Yeah,
person. This isn't your job.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I beat myself up about all the time. I'm like, why can't I just, like, why can't I handle this? Why can't I just, everybody else is doing fine, and like, no, they're not.
No, I mean, you're definitely right. I'm a content. I consider myself a content creator, and I, I've seen a lot of hateful comments. Sometimes they get filtered, and sometimes they don't make it to the actual comment section, and sometimes they do, and I've always just been one to just completely ignore them. I guess I was just been used to. Kayla was asking me about this on our last walk, and I was telling her I guess I just been used to people staring for so long and talking that shit behind my back either way, that it was like, okay, either I can curl up in a ball and just like completely just like not engage, not want to like be myself, or I can be myself and turn up the volume a little bit and give them something to look at. And so I guess as a kid, even in like sixth grade, even like young, like I adapted that kind of mindset, and I guess it turned into my social, um, kind of adapted it into my social game, as well as like not engaging. A lot of people do come to like my aid in the comments or whatever, and it's like, fuck off, he looks sexy, or fuck off, like they're a beautiful family, or whatever they say, like they usually have my back to where I don't have to say anything, and I don't usually I don't usually engage, even when even when I can tell they gave it all they
Yeah.
got. I'm like, I appreciate your engagement. I'm gonna go cash
Yeah.
in my TikTok AdSense for that. Thank you very much. Um,
Yes, I
I'm
love
gonna
that.
so I
I
don't know
don't
so that's just the way that I look in.
yeah, I'm not built like that. I feel compelled to reply.
Oh, bro, but for me, that's the one thing. I am so different on social than I am in real life. Like on social, I post nothing but trans content, but
Mhm.
most of the time, in 99% of my conversations, is nothing to do with being trans most of the day. Like if you're
Right.
interacting with me, when I like, we'll probably not talk about things that are trans unless you're like trans, and we're like, bro, what's growing up? Like
Yeah,
that's different. Like that's totally different. But like you just have to get it if you get it. I don't know,
like
but the
growing
point
up.
is, I don't know how to
Yeah, no,
explain
because
it.
like I'll be like, "Hey, have you ever had this problem with your shot?" That's the
Yeah,
only time we're really like trans,
yeah,
trans,
yeah.
trans.
Trans stuff, trans stuff. Yeah. So I definitely but between that, yeah, I'm definitely different in real life than
Yeah.
social. I don't know.
All all anybody on our social media ever sees either of us talk about, I think, is being trans. So
Yeah, yeah. But we are trans and
we are trans and
yeah,
yes, toke
trans
and trans
many
and
things. Any yeah, and many things. I don't know where. I don't know. We got on a tangent, but guess what?
yeah.
Bo's coming over to my house on Friday, and
Oh my
that's
god,
cool. Which is tomorrow for
tomorrow. It's
us.
tomorrow.
Yeah. So
I'm
Bo's
gonna see you
driving a
tomorrow
long
night.
way. Tomorrow night, you'll be like almost here, and I'll be like prepping the snacks.
Yeah, I'll be there in like 3 hours from tomorrow. Like
So
24,
crazy.
27 hours. Yeah.
I'm so
Oh my
excited.
god. I'm so
We don't
excited.
get to see Bo very often, so but we've been seeing him more often, and that's been really nice. Because like
Yeah.
I don't have many trans people around me locally that are trans that I hang out with. Like Bo is like my man, the dude. He's my bro. So he's
My
coming. It's gonna be
bro.
great. He's gonna come meet my little daughter, and she's gonna
Yes.
be just. She's so excited to see you. I can just totally tell.
I'm
Totally
gonna eat
tell.
her cheeks. I'm gonna eat
Follow us
them.
on
My mouth.
social so you can see the reunion.
Oh my
I
god.
guess is
Yes.
it? It's not reunion. I guess it is reunion because you came
It's
for
always
the
a
baby
reunion.
shower.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely a reunion.
It's
But
always a
yeah,
reunion.
I guess we just wanted to chime in, let you know what our thoughts were, make sure you heard about what was going on, and let you know that you can be find some positivity too as well, and
Yeah.
don't let people be divisive when there's no need to be.
Just keep it moving.
That's it. That's it. That's all we got for you. Hope you guys are having a good night, and we'll
We'll
see
see
you
you in the
in the
next
next
one.
one. Peace out, y'all.
Peace out.
Oh my god.